My name is Stephi, Stephi Lee on YouTube, and this is my van. His name is Kev Van, and it's a Ram Pro Master with the long wheelbase. I think it's 159. It's a 2019. I got it a little over a year ago, and then I spent all last summer working on it with my dad and his friend and turning it into my little dream home. This is my bed, and one of the reasons that I liked this type of van was because it's very wide, so I could fit a full-size bed across in it. So I have this whole full-size bed, and then above it is some cabinets with just like a bunch of storage, like books and clothes and stuff. I have a max air fan on the roof that's powered by this remote. It allows some air in here. I also have two windows that open on either side, which allow for a cross breeze. I have curtains on all the windows too for like privacy, and I have some extra warm blankets at the end of my bed for when it's really cold at night. I don't have a lot of stuff, so I almost have too much storage. Like, these cabinets are not even full. That one's almost empty, and this bench is another place that I store things, and it's like half full too. I try to be very minimalistic because if I have too much stuff I get stressed out. I forget how many inches this mattress is, but it's like decently thick and it's very comfortable. It's more comfortable than my old bed at home, and I got my pretty blanket. It's really dirty right now because we're in the middle of the desert. Over here is the little sink / shower area. So I got this sink at IKEA along with the cabinet underneath it, and it works. There's a water tank under the bed. It's 30 gallons, and then it pumps through there. And then I have a shower head that can extend really far, so I can take it outside and do like an outdoor shower if I want to. I don't use it very often because I usually end up just showering at the gym because there's gyms everywhere. But if I'm in the middle of nowhere and I need a shower, I can just do that. And I have these tiles, which is probably one of my favorite parts of the van, just because they look really like professional, even though they're actually just stick-on tiles from Amazon. And I have this little painting from my art teacher. She gave it to me right before I left on my van adventure, and it kind of matches the bench and stuff. And then above the sink I have like a paper towel holder. There's no paper towels in it right now, but there usually is. And I have a little upper thing to hold my shampoos and toothpaste and all that stuff. And I also have a carbon monoxide alarm, just in case. I was told it was a smart thing to do, so I did it. Well, I graduated from art school in 2017, and I had no idea what to do with my life. I was just doing freelance work, so I could really go wherever I wanted and work from anywhere. So I decided to buy a Honda Element, and I turned it into a little like mini home. All I did was like build a bed in it and then shoved all my stuff in there, but I lived out of it for 9 months, and then I crashed it, and then I got a minivan and lived out of that for a little while, and then I got a Prius and lived out of that for a little while, and then I got this van. But I think the motivation was I just kind of wanted to see a little more of the world, so I thought driving across the country would be a good way to start. So I drove from Massachusetts out to like Southern California, and I hung out there for a long time. And then I've done a couple cross-country trips since then, and I've also traveled overseas quite a lot, not with a van or anything, but just with a backpack. And it was really just about seeing as much of the world as I could, because I don't know, this is kind of a long story to get into, but I was born with a disease called cystic fibrosis, which has a life expectancy like in your 20s to 30s usually. So at the time I was just doing as much as I possibly could because I wanted to just live my life as much as possible in the short amount of time that I had. And actually in the last year and a half, or it was like the end of 2019, a drug came out called Trikafta, which treats cystic fibrosis, and it's the first drug to ever really like successfully treat it. So now I'm not dying as fast anymore. Like, I have a potentially longer life expectancy like a normal person's. So now I'm in a weird place where I don't really know what to do. I decided to build a van after that drug came out because I realized that now I actually have time to really focus on building a van, and then I can go do more travels in that. And I wasn't gonna do it before because I didn't want to put all the energy into building a van because I was just gonna die. So so now that I'm not dying as fast, I decided to build a van, and now I'm just doing more of the usual living life to the fullest stuff that I was doing before, but now I'm doing it with this. Under the bed, this is a table that lifts up. It's kind of dirty right now, but it goes like this, and then there's a stand under there that I use to make it stay up. And then under the bed is just more storage, so the water tank's on that side and the solar stuff is on the other side. And then in the middle is just like random miscellaneous storage, like art supplies, laundry, that kind of stuff. So I have 400 watts of solar on the roof, so 4 100-watt panels, and then I have 2 AGM batteries under the bed along with the charge controller and the inverter. But it powers my fridge and the lights and the water pump. I have this little thing so I can plug in my laptop or whatever right there, and this connects to the inverter. This is my bench. It just has a bunch of crap in it. So I have clothes on this side that are completely not folded or organized whatsoever, but that's okay. And then I have food and a tripod and random things on this side. It's kind of just a bench to shove everything that I don't want everywhere else. It's just the junk bench, basically. This is the fridge, and I think I bought it on Amazon. It holds a decent amount of food. I have some corn and oat milk and protein shakes in there. And then behind the fridge lives my yoga mat and my hula hoop. And then I have some more snacks in here. Well, I'm a terrible cook, so I didn't even bother building a kitchen. I have a camping stove under the bed, which is just one of those ones you get at Walmart, and you can attach the propane thing to it. But I've only used it twice, maybe, because it's a hassle to take out, and I usually just end up eating things that don't really require cooking, so overnight oats or salads, or I'll go to Chipotle or something. And yeah, I just like to avoid cooking as much as possible. These walls are actually wood panels I got from Home Depot, and I like them because they're kind of rustic looking. They look like real wood, but they're just cheap plywood kind of things. I have a lot of space in this van because I wanted to be able to move around and stretch out. I didn't want to feel claustrophobic and cramped in here. And I also really like having this space to roll out my yoga mat or do some exercise. I have a bunch of weights over here and yoga blocks and a foam roller and stuff. So I have a little space to move so I'm not all cramped up all the time. So I had my stuff at my dad's house before I moved into my first car, but I ended up selling most of it because I knew I wanted to be very minimal and be able to travel and not have to worry about having a bunch of stuff. So that kind of transition wasn't too hard. I was terrified though at first to drive across the country completely alone because I had never really traveled anywhere before. I've always been very introverted and shy, so I was very scared and timid. But then once I got on the road and started doing it, I loved it. And so I've kind of been doing that for the last 5 years, or 4 years, 5 years, I don't know. But I've just been traveling almost nonstop. I love traveling alone because like I said, I'm very introverted, so I like being alone. And sometimes it does get a little bit lonely, but it's usually when you're at a really cool place and you're I wish somebody was here to see this with me. But then you can take pictures and stuff, and that kind of makes up for it a little bit. That's part of why I like sharing videos on YouTube. I like to vlog my travels because then I can share it with thousands of people. And although it's not like exactly the same as being there, it's still like, look at this cool thing, and just showing them what the world's like, just in case maybe they're stuck at home or something and they can't see the things that I'm seeing. Up here is just some more storage. This is where I keep most of my winter clothes, so like sweatshirts and sweaters and towels, stuff like that. And then I have this curtain that just goes like that, and that way no one can spy on me when I'm sleeping. And it's also a blackout curtain, so it blocks the sun out if I want to like sleep during the day. Okay, it's a little bit crammed back here, but you can kind of see I have the water tank here, and then I have this hose that's flexible. My dad found this and he was so excited about it. But it can like extend and attach so you can fill up the water from a long distance. And then there's like the accumulator and the water pump. And that's about it on this side. On the driver's side is all the solar stuff. So we built this little box to go over the wheel well, and it's got the batteries up top. There's 2 of them, and then there's the charge controller, the inverter, a fuse block, and then I have a little toolbox in case I need anything. And there's my camping stove that never gets any use, and some laundry. Yeah, that's about it. So when I first started living in cars and stuff, I was just doing freelance illustration. So I would make art for people, usually like portraits of their family or their pets. Sometimes I'd do a little bit of like illustrations for magazines and editorial stuff. And then during that first trip where I drove across the country, when I got to California, I met this guy that does YouTube, and he kind of encouraged me to start a YouTube channel. So I did, not really expecting anything from it, and then it turned into like a much bigger thing, and that kind of became most of my job. I still do make art, but my main source of income is my YouTube videos now, which are mostly just stuff about van life and cystic fibrosis and travel, and it's kind of just documenting my life. So I do that, and then I do a little bit of art. I sell shirts and prints, and I do like sponsorship sometimes. I do a bunch of little things now, but it's mostly like internet things on social media. You can find me on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok at Stephi Lee. And then I have StephiLee.com, which is where I sell shirts and prints and occasional original paintings and stuff. I always tell people that if you have a goal like living in a van and traveling or something, don't let things stop you. Like say you're chronically ill or something, there's always little ways you can get around things and find a way to make your dream happen. Sometimes maybe it won't happen completely linear like a normal healthy person or whatever, but you might have some obstacles along the way, but you just keep pushing through and you can figure it out. I figured it out. Thanks for coming. I hope you liked meeting Kev Van. Goodbye.